Well, hello everyone. How are you? Happy Sunday. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. I sure did. I spent time with my family, had beautiful food, spent time with the nieces and nephews, and I am wishing you a happy Easter as well. I wanted to, I love using or looking up words, like what do different words mean. And so I thought I'd share a little bit on kind of some musings that I was looking up for Easter time. And so I always like to look up words, like where did that word Easter come from? Where did the word come from? And what I found was the term Easter comes from Old English. I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Eastre, Eostre. This is different language, or than English, right? From a pagan spring festival celebrating the dawn goddess Eostre. Ostre. Okay. It says an Austera in Germanic traditions. The goddess was associated with springtime, rebirth and renewal, light, returning after the darkness of winter, and yes, fertility symbols like rabbits and eggs. Early Christian missionaries in Europe adapted this existing festival, already celebrated around the spring equinox, to align with the resurrection of Jesus, which also is a symbol of new life and renewal. So it was a natural fit, according to this article. The linguistic roots, Old English, again, when there is a hard line over an E, that means you pronounce it like the actual letter, right? Eastre. And so apparently in German, Ostern is still how you say Easter. Latin and Greek, Christian texts refer to the event as Pas. I know in Spanish it's like Pascua, right? Pasca, is that how you say it? And then, of course, Passover. I'm not sure how you say that in Hebrew. So most languages except English and German, the holidays are still called Pascha. Pascha, I believe. I don't know if you see the CH like cha. I'm not sure. I should probably look that up. Linking it directly to Passover, which is when the crucifixion and resurrection occurred. A metaphysical reflection, according to A Course in Miracles. I was doing some musing. And so the perspective, according to A Course in Miracles, which is my grounding practice that I really love, the evolution of the word is very beautiful. Easter came from the festival of light overcoming darkness. Now it serves as a reminder that the light within us has never gone out. We just simply forgot. So regardless of the word's origin, the truth it points to is timeless. New life, inner rebirth, and the rising of your mind into forgiveness and light. I really like the metaphysical or psychological meanings behind Easter and the whole, what it stands for. And speaking of like your inner resurrection, right? If we were to take this to a level within and look at it metaphorically, think about your own resurrection, right? Easter, it's not just a story from the past, but it's kind of a story we all go through. Like we've all gone through our crucifixions and our own resurrections, like when we rise from the ashes of our own, darkness, and then it's spring and we come back alive. And so there's a psychological Easter happening in each and every one of us at different times. I'm sure you've been through your own inner psychological Easters, your psychological resurrections, your psychological crucifixions, right? A divorce can be a crucifixion. It could feel like just a betrayal. Oh my goodness. Many, many things. And it's different to each and every person. But it's the moment we decide to rise from the dead thoughts that we've been carrying, the past. We talk a lot about that on this channel when it comes to our inner thoughts and what are we carrying around with us? Are we ready to release? Are we ready to resurrect? Are we ready to cleanse that? So the moment we decide to rise from the dead thoughts that we've been carrying, the guilt, the shame, the unworthiness, the fear, that's for real. And in A Course in Miracle, Jesus tells us that the crucifixion was not the lesson. That's the truth. A lot of people focus on that, no judgment. But the resurrection was the focus. It's like, that's the miracle of the whole situation, right? That whole idea, the whole story of the crucifixion and the resurrection. The crucifixion was not the lesson. The resurrection was the lesson. And it's not about glorifying suffering. It's about overcoming suffering. And a lot of people do glorify the suffering. And it's about choosing to leave the tomb, right? Going on with this metaphorical meaning, psychological meaning. It's about choosing to leave the tomb of self-condemnation and walk into the light of forgiveness. That's beautiful. So are you ready to walk out of the tomb, metaphorical tomb, of your self-condemnation? Maybe you've been beating yourself up. Maybe you've been condemning other people. So what if today you let this be your resurrection moment? What if you finally said, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for things that I've done in the past. I'm no longer who I was in my lowest moment. I'm no longer who I was in my lowest moment. You are no longer who you were in your lowest moment. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to be reborn. You are allowed to put off that old man, as Neville Goddard would say. You are allowed to shed off that old dead version that has been crucified by others and by yourself. Are you ready to resurrect? Are you ready to release and let go and forgive yourself and others? So you're allowed to rise. I'm allowed to rise. I don't have to carry the cross of guilt any longer. You don't have to carry that cross of guilt any longer, whatever you feel guilty around. And I had a lot of emotions before, like growing up, like I didn't know it was guilt, but when I really tapped into it, I was like, oh my God, I feel guilty. What do I feel guilty? Like I did something wrong. I'm going to get in trouble. Like it was the wildest thing, but guilt is really, really big and it goes undetected in a lot of people's lives. That's why it's so important to do that inner work, inner reflection. So we all go through our own crucifixion moments, betrayal, loss, failure, trauma, but resurrection means that your story does not end in the dark. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your ego. You are the light. And you have permission to rise. You have permission to rise. If you ever doubted that, please understand that. There have been times, and it's not to compare anybody's pain. We've all been through our own things. No matter what you've ever been through, you have to give yourself permission. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Like you don't need it. You are worthy to be forgiven, to rise, to put off unelegant moments of the past. That's what this whole story is about. You know, when it comes to Easter time and the Christian religion and the crucifixion story, it's like it didn't end on the cross. It ended with the resurrection and the rising and the overcoming of death. So it says, this Easter, let it be more than a holiday. Let it be a healing. Let it be the day you say, I will rise. In my mind today, I choose peace. I choose to live. I choose to forgive. I choose to be renewed. Isn't that great? I love that. I remember one time I was listening, I think I was in a lecture when years ago, my God, it had to have been like 2011. Yeah, around 2011. I think I still have a recording of it. We used to be able to buy CDs when we left the auditorium of the lecture of A Course in Miracles. Every week, Marianne Williamson, we used to speak in Beverly Hills at the Saban Theater. She used to speak on La Brea. God, what was that theater called? Anyways, but before she left Los Angeles and got more into like politics, she used to speak every week on A Course in Miracles and do lectures at the Saban Theater. And she did a really great talk on the metaphysics of Easter, the metaphysics of the crucifixion, and the archetypal journey that we all go through, feeling crucified, feeling like we're just dying, feeling like we can never rise again, right? And this holiday, this season, this story is the ultimate, right? Crucifixion and resurrection story. But we all go through our own crucifixions. We all go through our own deaths and our own risings again, if you will. So I like how they said, decide today that you're going to walk out of the tomb of guilt, of doubt, of fear, of resentment, forgiving it all. And they use, in A Course in Miracles, they use which was also used in the stories in like, I think the Bible. I am not a Bible scholar by any means. But at any given moment, we can give, oh, you know what? I think I have it here. Let's read this. This is really beautiful. I really enjoyed this. It's about the lilies or the crown of thorns that you can give to your brother, right? Oh, wow. I've been really, Yeah, there was a lot here. Okay, when it comes to Easter, let's see. Okay, so I also love Ken Wapnick, who is one of the greatest teachers of A Course in Miracles, which I absolutely love. And the teachings aren't for everybody, but it's my sobriety, and I love it, and I love to teach it. So it says the world, today is the day the world celebrates Jesus's resurrection. But what I offer you is not the resurrection of the body, but of the mind. The resurrection is not a historical event. It is the eternal decision to rise above the ego, to no longer be bound by fear, attack, judgment, or death. Easter is your invitation to awaken. It's the call to leave behind the tomb of guilt and rise to the light of truth. You do not need to suffer to be worthy. You only need to choose again. Choose again in your mind the thoughts that you're going to think. Wow. And yeah, just choosing the right minded thoughts. That's the whole thing about A Course in Miracles. You're either in the ego mind or you're in the mind of the light, the Holy Spirit. And when it comes to holiday seasons or just the world that we live in today, it can be triggering, right? A lot of things that are going on in this world. And how are you going to think about what's going on in the world, right? Your perception will create your experience of life. And I am the first to say, like, I have to work double time to keep peace of mind because there's a lot of noise and we can get really taken away and emotionally triggered by it. But we don't need to correct other people. We don't need to argue with, their points of view or their beliefs or their fears, right? If they're expressing that, because when people express really passionately, what they feel, it's their truth. And so don't argue with it. Just listen, have boundaries. You don't have to stay there. But I know that some families during the holidays can get, or even, I mean, hell, it doesn't even need a holiday these days. It's just in the air, but it's not our job to correct it. It's not our job to argue with it or fix it or have them behave in a way that we would feel more comfortable. How can we be at peace with other people? Of course, be normal, take action if someone's hurting someone else, but that's usually not the case 99.9% of the time. And you're not responsible for changing what's happening as according to A Course in Miracles in this dream. We're not responsible for changing it, only choosing how we're going to think about it, how we're going to forgive it in our own minds. So life is a psychological experience in my belief. And life happens within and it's just reflected without. And so whatever's happening out here is just a mirror reflection of what's happening within. So any darkness, any wars that we see is just a reflection of what people are thinking, the fears, the worries, the pain, the suffering. And so if we can get it clean up in here. I was out last night with some people and someone asked, "Do you think that everyone will ever be at peace?" And I thought, well, we don't have to ask that. You just think, will I ever be at peace? Ask yourself the question. If you want to know if the world can ever be at peace, ask yourself, will I ever truly be at peace, like with everybody in this whole entire world? Everybody I disagree with, everybody that I hate, everybody that bothers me. Like, can I truly be in harmony and peace and accept everybody and be with them truly 100%? If the answer is yes, then maybe. But that's the whole point. Like Mahatma Gandhi, like, be the change you want to see. If you want to see the change outside, we have to change within first. So yeah, it's an inside job. The game is always within. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed my musings on Easter about the metaphysical, the psychological resurrection, and the psychological crucifixion. And how do you apply it to your life, even if you don't celebrate, right? It's springtime, it's a renewal. And are you ready to be reborn? It's April 20th. It is officially Taurus season. Everybody get out of the way. Everybody get out of the way. All the bulls. It's the running of the bulls. All right. Until May 20th, I believe. And your girl's a Taurus and she is proud. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I am. But I think that we all have different. I think that we all have aspects of each um, astrological sign within us, right? But I'm definitely stubborn, like a Taurus. Okay. Anyways, I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. I just checked to make sure my mic was on. Can you imagine? It wouldn't be the first time I'm yapping for like 20 minutes and the microphone's on mute. Anywho, I hope you have a beautiful evening. I feel so relaxed. I'm going to go on a walk in my evening. I have a little bit of work to do, but I'm ready for my week. I'm really excited. Tomorrow is Monday, April 21st. Let's release. Let's resurrect. Let's be clean. Let's clean our mind, cleanse our mind, forgive, release, be renewed. So thank you for your love and support. I am going to figure out what book we're going to continue with. It has to be a small book that I can travel with because I will definitely be around. You know what? I'm either thinking it's going to be Neville Goddard, The Power of Awareness. Well, I already did that. I already did. It might be, and I already did The Science of Getting Rich too, but I might do it again. I might do that again. Stay tuned. All right. Have a beautiful evening. I will see you tomorrow.